I know several of you in the room, but for those of you I have not met, my name is Susanne Alcantara, and I'm the director of Annenberg's Career Development Office. So pleased to see you. We have curated a full day of learning, and it's going to be a great day. There are many hands make light work, so I want to publicly thank my team who've been very involved in making today happen, and most of them are in the back. So let's see, raise your hand. Megan is in the back. Helene is in the back. Jen, who's our newest career advisor, she started 2 days ago, and we have really thrown her in the fire this week. And then, oh no, I'm not forgetting Shayna. And last but not least is Shayna. So we're very, raise your hand, Shayna. We are very team-oriented, but there are particular leads for each project. And this is definitely Shayna's baby, and her attention to detail is extraordinary. So please join me in thanking my team. All right. So I had the privilege of meeting Eric in May, along with a few of our Maymaster students who are in the audience today. And I think they'll join me in remembering that it was a really full day. We started at, I don't know, 7:30 in the morning getting on, no, I think it was 8:30. Getting on the bus from Midtown Manhattan to go to Secaucus, New Jersey, spent a whole morning there, then took the bus back. I do remember the bus was late, so you guys sat in a lot of traffic coming back to Midtown Manhattan. And then we had several hours, again, of hearing from all members of the team. So it was probably about 3:30. We were all tired. And we were all kind of like, this is great, but wow, this is a lot of information. And Eric walked in, and his enthusiasm, his passion, his just being Eric, we all perked up. You guys going to agree with me? I see my three. And I began to listen to what Eric was saying, and the career counselor in me was loving all of that narrative. And I thought, I'm going to ask Eric if he's going to come to the career conference, and I'm going to cross my fingers that he's going to say yes, which he did. And today he's with us with his lovely wife, Linda, and his son, Miles, who is a senior in high school with an interest in coming to USC, so we'll all keep our fingers crossed for Miles. But Eric is the Senior Vice President of Human Resources at the National Basketball Association. But I really think this Say Yes to Success and the work that he does kind of on the side is really his passion project that he's going to talk to you a lot about. So please join me in welcoming Eric Hutcherson to the stage. Or down there.
Yeah, well, I'm going to grab the remote from up there. Okay. How's everybody? You guys okay? The jacket will stay for maybe a minute or two. I was on, off, but I'll keep it on for the beginning, and then I'll probably take it off and get a little bit more animated as the day goes. But I'm going to spend about an hour with you, and I'm going to give you some input, some insights. Those workbooks you have are takeaways. I'm going to talk to you about career and career management and personal branding and why it's important for you to think about how you approach yourself and how you present yourself and all these other things. And in about 45 minutes or so, you'll think you got it all, and in about an hour and a half, it's going to be gone. So the purpose of the workbook is for you to go back and refresh and think about it and add a few things to your language and maybe even consider doing a little bit of the homework that's in there. So I'll offer that to you. One thing I want to start with is just a quick video that I've added to my presentation simply because I started thinking about really why do I do this? And what is it that makes this so important to me to do this work called helping people think about their own careers and brands and what they stand for and what makes them great and all these other things that we'll talk about. And I started to realize that the NBA's latest campaign actually fits perfectly with why I do this. So I'm just going to run this video real quick.
This season can't come soon enough. Why 20-year-olds are training harder than ever. Why 35 million people are now cheering for the North. And free throws are never.
That's not me.
Why Philly is becoming known for skyscrapers. Why sometimes a jacket means more than a jersey. Why NBA history is always being rewritten. And why this game is about more than just basketball. There's a reason this fall is going to be hotter than the summer. Why 2 seconds can feel like an eternity. And why any city can become the center of the universe.
There it is. So our season starts in just a couple of weeks, and you notice that our ad campaign is called I'm Why. And as I reflect on why I do what I do and why you guys are sitting here, it sort of fits. Your why. In essence, what I need you to remember is that whatever it is that you're thinking about in your careers, whatever it is that you think that you're going to do in the future, whatever it is that you're studying, for whatever reason you decided to do what you're doing, the most important thing for you to remember is you're doing it for yourselves. You're doing it for your own growth. You're doing it for your own development. You're doing it for your own knowledge. And the reason that we're all here, all of us that are around the outside of the room, you should be saying, I'm why. Why are we here? I'm why. Why are you in Annenberg? I'm why. Why has the school invested so much in me? I'm why. So let me just have you practice that just for a second, because at the end you're going to need to say that again. So why are we here? I'm why. Why are you here? I'm why. Why do we invest so much in you? I'm why. One more time, because I know it's only 10 o'clock in the morning and I'm going to make you work. Why is all this investment just for you? I'm why. There we go. Now, a group of 8 concepts that I'm going to talk to you about today. Those 4 concepts are really important, and I'm going to give you some detail, and they map to the workbook. 2, we're going to do a little bit of practicing around our 30-second commercials and how you introduce yourself and how you can start to portray yourself in a certain way that will be impactful and charging. 3, we're going to discover that you are always on an interview. Always. I'll give you one story really quick. I used to be a college recruiter. I used to recruit for all the schools in Boston. We used to live in Boston. I lived in Somerville. I'm on my way to MIT. I take the train line. I see kids on the train having a ball, laughing, joking, smoking, playing, making fun of somebody sitting on the train, until it turned Monday. And when it turned Monday and I walked in for the interview, guess who I saw? One of the guys that was on the train. So I'm like, hey, I know you. He's like, no, you don't. I was like, I know you. Sir, I've never met you before. I know. I didn't actually say hello when I saw you on the train laughing and joking and making fun and being stupid and acting a fool. But it only happens that now I'm sitting across the table from you as your interviewer. I'm pretty sure that he knew at that point that the odds that he was going to get that job, no matter how smart, no matter how good, no matter how prepared, that it was pretty slim, that after seeing him when he thought nobody was looking, it's pretty hard to assume that that opportunity was coming his way. So it is really super important to remember. You don't have to be buttoned up and suited up all the time, but you do have to pay attention to how you operate. And you absolutely have to pay attention to how you act. And don't think for a second that somebody isn't watching, because around every single corner, somebody's making an assessment of you, even when you don't think they are. So it's really super important to know you're always on an interview. And then last, we're going to talk about your personal brand and what it means and how it works and how you carry it with you. And by the way, just one reminder, when I'm in the room that you're not in, when we talk about you and whether or not you should get that job or get promoted or whatever else, when you're not there and I am, guess what? Who's in the room? Your brand. What we know about you, what we heard about you, what somebody told us about you, what we thought about you, what we think about you is what's in the room. What we actually know doesn't come until after you get the job. So knowing your brand and knowing how your brand is operating and knowing how your brand is perceived and knowing how to affect your brand is something that's really super important. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to do that. Now, the 4 concepts, the pride principle, which as I said before was a concept and is now a company. Second, this rule of 30. We're going to practice your 30-second commercials, and then we're going to talk about this company called you. And by the time this thing is over, hopefully you guys are ready to go out and present yourselves in a different way than maybe you thought you would coming in. Now, the pride principle. This started literally as me working for the Boston Celtics, and I was going to the NBA Stay in School program, going around to different schools and talking to young people in middle school about the importance of education. And we used this acronym called PRIDE, which is simple: positive mental attitude, respect, intelligent choices, dreams and goals, and execution. Now, when I was talking to middle schoolers, we were using the term effort in education. But now, as it started to evolve, and as this concept started to grow, And as I had teachers and then administrators and then companies and then now industries asking me to come and talk to them about the importance of this notion called pride, we moved it over to execution, because what I came to find is that how you deliver is really the most important thing that matters, no matter what the circumstances. So we're going to do a little call and response exercise. And this is the reason why I said you guys are going to have to work. Okay? So I grew up in a family where somebody says something and then you say it back. And we get practice at that, right? So here we're going to do. I'm going to say P stands for, you're going to say PMA, and you're going to clap 2 times, okay? So let me practice for you, because we usually mess this up early. I say P stands for, and you go PMA. Okay, just like that, right? Now, you got to say it really loud so the people upstairs on the 4th floor can hear you, right? The doors are open, so it should be nice and loud. So let's try it once. P stands for? PMA. Okay, that would be 10:15 PMA. We need like 3 o'clock in the afternoon after 4 cups of coffee PMA. Here we go. P stands for? PMA. Just so you guys know, I used to be a basketball coach, so I will yell at you. Positive mental attitude. Believe it or not, the thing that people evaluate you on most is your attitude. Because it's the first thing that we actually notice. Does the person have a smile or not have a smile? Do they wear their emotions on their sleeve or not? Do they get stressed out when things really get stuck? Am I going to be able to rely on them when it really gets tight? Nobody actually wants to be led by a leader that they don't feel confidence in. Notice that when the game is really, really tight and we think that we're going to lose, the coach is the calmest person in the huddle. There's a reason for that. People want to follow someone that they think is in control. So having a positive attitude and having a smile on your face, something as simple as keep smiling, is something that's going to carry you in your careers, well beyond what you might imagine. When we sit in that room that you're not in and we talk about you, guess what we say? This person's got a great attitude. People just really want to be around them. They have this thing called followership. That means you're not a pain. That means that leaders want to lead you. It means that teammates want to be on your team. It means that people want to be in your circle and they want to be around you. Because there are lots of people that no matter how good they are, no matter how smart they are, no matter how capable they are, you want them as far away from you as possible because they drag the group down. You know those people? You know those people when they're on your project and you go, oh. Because whenever something goes wrong, they're the first one to disappear. They're the first one to make everybody else stressed. They're the first one to drag the group down. And then nobody wants to be around them. Be the opposite. So very simple. Keep smiling. No matter what the circumstances, keep smiling. Just have a positive attitude and be ready to go to the next thing. Okay? Now, R stands for respect. R stands for? Respect. Come on, one more time. R stands for? Respect. Here's the deal. Well before we need to be liked, we need to be respected. Hear that. You will go to work thinking, I need to have a circle of people that love me. Wrong. Let me give you an axiom that was given to me. Probably the best advice I ever got. You can't love the company because the company can't love you back. Don't ever fall in love with the company because the company can't love you back. Because at some point or another, no matter how loyal you are to the organization, if the right set of circumstances come together, they might have to say goodbye. But you know what? They will respect what you bring. They will respect how you work. They will respect how you deliver. And they will respect what you bring to the table in the good of the team. Nobody wants to work for a leader that they don't respect either. You go to an organization because you feel like you're going to learn from the other person across the table from you. Like comes somewhere down the line. I got lots of people that I work with. I got like 5 friends. But I respect a lot of the people that I work with because of what they do and their commitment to the good and their commitment to the organization. And that's what really matters. So remember, like is great. Respect is awesome. Yes? Okay. I stands for intelligent choices. I stands for? Intelligent choices. I stands for? Intelligent choices. Gotta make them. And they're going to come in rapid fire. The reason I love the game of basketball is because it's nothing but a game of choices. It's nothing but a game of choices. And as I used to coach, I used to say, basketball is a thinking man's game. Because when you play this game, every second is a choice to be made. Well, what is your career if it's not a collection of choices? Do I take that job or do I not? Do I move or do I not? Do I take on this project even though I feel like I'm swamped or not? Is it going to be good for me that I took on this project, even though I have more work than I think I can handle? Or is it going to be a bad thing? Well, it'll depend on how you deliver. But at the end of the day, the choices that you make are going to be the thing that shapes who you are as a professional. And you need to know that those choices are your choices to make. There is something that I will tell you, though. Keep your hands free. No matter what choices you make in your career, remember this. Keep your hands free. The biggest mistake that you can make is load yourself down to be the person that nobody can live without, that does all of the work. And guess what happens? You do all of the work. And guess what happens? The opportunities go to those who have their hands free, that are ready to catch the opportunities when they come. So please be mindful. Do great work. Make good choices. But always keep your hands free. Because you never know when the opportunity that is going to change your life is the one that's going to come. And I can tell you from personal experience, I've been the guy that's been on the most important project. I've been the guy that's had the biggest department that he manages. I've been the guy that had the most people in his team. I've been the guy that the CEO said, we can't live without you, until it came time to be the interim head of HR as my boss went out on leave. And guess what? They said, Eric, you're way too important for us to take you off of all this work. We can't live without you. So we're going to give the interim HR head to Linda instead. You know why? Because while I was indispensable, my hands weren't free. And when the opportunity came, I wasn't ready to take it. And I'll talk to you about this fake thing that they call destiny in a minute. Destiny is not a real thing. I'll tell you about destiny in a second. But let me just tell you, keep your hands free. Take on what you can take on, manage what you can manage, own what you need to own, execute the hell out of it, but keep your hands free, because you don't know when the opportunity will come. And when it comes, it will pass you if you don't have hands to catch it. Yes? D stands for dreams and goals. D stands for?
Dreams and goals.
One more time. Willow just came in. D stands for?
Dreams and goals.
If you don't have a goal, you'll go nowhere. We lied to you when we told you to set your goals 3 to 5 years out. If you look inside that workbook, I'll give you something to work on going forward. We lied to you when we told you that you should set your goals 3 to 5 years out. The world moves way too fast for that. 12 to 18 months, best. 12 to 18 months. And project manage your life from this point forward. Very simple exercise. It's in the book. Very simple exercise. Set a goal a year out. Whatever that is that you want to do. Give yourself 3 concrete things you're going to do in the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. 3 concrete things. Not, I hope I get promoted. You don't own that. I own that. What you can do is deliver. What you can do is make the calls. What you can do is make the project work. Those are 3 concrete things you can do in the next 30 days. When those 30 days are up, do 3 more things. When you're halfway to your goal, what are you going to do? Set the goal out further. Every 30 to 60 to 90 days, set a goal for yourself. Achieve that goal, do the next thing. Achieve that goal, do the next thing. Hold yourself accountable, and before you know it, you're moving. Believe it or not, you'll be beyond your 1-year goal in 6 to 9 months, because you'll be doing so many things that you are project managing one at a time, that by the time you actually get to the goal that you had stated a year from now, you're already past it and you're at another goal. Now, I've given people homework. You have the same homework. I've asked people to fill out their goal sheet and to call me with what their goals are. I've learned that we actually don't use telephones anymore. So Snapchat me, email me, do something to get the information to me. But however I get it, tell me what the goal was. Tell me what the things were that you were going to actually accomplish. And by the way, I'm going to give you a little tip. Nothing happens until you write it down and until you tell somebody else. That's the reason why I'm still 260. Nothing happens until you write it down and until you tell somebody else, because you'll let yourself down and give you all kinds of excuses why you didn't do it, but you won't let somebody else down. So get this thing that I call an accountability partner. Ask someone to help you. Ask someone to help you. Ask someone to hold you accountable to your own standard. And when you do, you'll start to feel like you're accountable to another person, and you'll deliver on your goals a lot faster and a lot more completely than you would have if you only held yourself accountable to the standard. So get your accountability partner, set your goals out 30, 60, 90 days, start walking. Halfway there, move the goal. Halfway there again, move it again. By the time you get to 3 years, you're going to go, whoa, wait a minute. That's called a career. Simply a collection of choices that over a long period of time, after making good ones and bad ones, by the way, I don't believe in bad ones because any one, as long as you learn from it, it's a good one. Right here on my arm is a tattoo that says the measure of a man. You know what it means? The measure of a man is only as good as the mistakes he makes and the lessons he learns from them. I made more mistakes in my career than I can shake a stick at. The thing that I'm proud of is that every one of them, I learned something in order to move forward, and I'm where I'm at. And we talked about it. I'm where I'm at on accident. Master's degree in sports management, public relations and community relations for the Celtics, footwear marketing with Foot Locker, launched a new footwear brand, sports agent, HR guy. Totally by accident. But what happened was as circumstances changed, I evolved with them. Those collection of choices and those dreams that I had to be able to impact people's lives came to confluence, and then suddenly there was this thing called destiny, the confluence of opportunity and preparation. When the two met, I had destiny. The fallacy of destiny is when we don't meet our goal, we say, well, it wasn't my destiny. That's a load of crap. Opportunity and preparation, when they come together, is the definition of destiny. And it simply is just a matter of, are you prepared when the opportunity comes? And what? Are your hands free to catch it? Last concept, E stands for?
Execution.
E stands for?
Execution.
All of that is hogwash if you don't deliver. Let me tell you 1,000% for sure. When we are in the room and you're not there and we are talking about you, what we are talking about is, does that person deliver? And if 10 people in the room said they have been great for me, but there is a single individual that can say, well, on the project that I had, they were over budget, they were out of time, they didn't manage their resources, they promised something that they didn't deliver, it is over. We move too fast. We have too much to do. It is too high stakes to worry about something that we are not sure is going to be able to deliver. So let me tell you for sure, if you think any one of those things is important, your ability to deliver is the most important thing you could ever do. I use the term under-promise and over-deliver. Under-promise and over-deliver. I see lots of people with lots of exuberance go, yes, 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 and then they don't deliver. And all of their goodwill and all of their good intention means nothing when it doesn't come through. We don't have time to hear about the circumstances. I can tell you, I know people will make you feel good and nurtured, and they will tell you that your personal circumstances actually matter. In the corporate world, they do not. We absolutely, positively care only to the degree that it doesn't get in the way of the ability to execute and make the plan. We are one of the most thoughtful organizations I've ever worked for, one of the most caring places I've ever worked for, one of the most humane organizations I've ever worked for, because our people deliver. And when they don't, if I have to choose between giving you a hug and getting the outcome, guess which one I want? I need you to remember, delivery matters. Flawless execution is on everybody's scorecard. And no matter how good and no matter how nice and no matter how well-intentioned you are, when you deliver, I want you on my team. Because when it comes down to it, I need somebody that I can count on to execute and get us there. So I can tell you for sure, everything that you've learned for all of the time that you're in school, the one thing that you absolutely have to remember is when you step out into that real world and we don't have time to worry about your feelings and circumstances, delivery is the thing that matters. It's the thing that matters more than anything in the world. So please, don't forget it, because it is key, okay? So 5 things. Each one stands independently. Each one has its own worth and value. But when the 5 come together is when you have that thing called pride. I worked for one of the most beautiful organizations in the world called the Boston Celtics. They were known for this thing called Celtic pride. You know what that was? That was 5 selfless guys, none of whom were the best at the position that they played, none of whom were known to be the big giant superstar. There was that other team in Los Angeles called the Lakers that had all the superstars. When I was a kid, I was a Laker fan. But then the Celtics were paying the paycheck, so guess what happened? But here's the beauty of the Celtics. I would go to practice, and I'd see Larry Bird show up first. Best player anybody had ever seen show up first. I would leave practice, and 3 hours later, I'd be still getting rebounds for Larry. Dennis Johnson was a guy that had been a cast-off. By the way, went to Pepperdine. Was a cast-off. Ended up being one of the best guys in the league. Robert Parrish was called a malcontent when he played for Golden State. And then he got to Boston. Kevin McHale was this guy that they was long and lanky from Minnesota that they really thought couldn't even play. And Danny Ainge was the guy that everybody just couldn't stand because he was such a needle. But you took 5 guys, all of whom were selfless, and you put them together, and they had this thing called Celtic pride, and they became champions. Same thing for you personally. Take these 5 things. Each one stands by themselves. If you have any one of them independently, you're probably on your way to awesome. But when you put the 5 together, that's when you have that strength, that thing called pride. Okay? So, that's the start of the talk. Now, the rule of 30. You don't have to follow this in your book. This is just for help. The rule of 30. People assess you from 3 distinct points. 3 distinct points. You can't really do much about it. It's unfortunate, but it is true that we make assumptions about people all the time. 3 distinct points. 30 feet away, 30 inches away, and the first 30 words out of your mouth. Make no mistake, it happens everywhere you go. You know when you walk down the street and you see that guy walking down the street that makes you a little bit nervous? You know when you're not really sure if you should cross the street or shouldn't cross the street? You know what you are doing? That. You don't know him. You don't know anything about him. You don't know if he's going to help you or if he's going to hurt you. But when you're 30 feet away, you start making an assessment. And you're doing a mental calculation in your head. Well, by the way, that happens to everybody, everywhere they go, all the time, every single time. 30 feet away, I am assessing. What culture is this person from? What do I know of that culture? What have I been told about that culture? What should I expect to see from this person as I see them 30 feet away in order to know whether I'm going to like them or not like them? When you meet somebody for the very first time and you've never actually seen them, you already have in your mind what you expect to see. How surprising when you've seen somebody 4 or 5 times throughout the course of a day, and then all of a sudden they come up and they go, "Hi, I'm going to interview you." And you're like, "Whoa, I saw you. And I was making assessments of when I saw you. But now I have to make new assessments because now I see you in a different way than I saw you when I was making assessments and I didn't know you." People make assessments from 30 feet away, and they begin to form what you think of that person long before you actually have any insight to know what they think. So know that it is happening to you because you're doing it, so somebody's doing it to you. 30 inches away, somebody gets close. By the way, now we start assessing grooming. So in the event that you smoke and you are going for an interview, guess what? The person that is across the table from you, unless they enjoy swimming in an ashtray, you probably aren't getting that job. By the way, also, if you took a bath in cologne, if you happen to get up this morning and you were such a rush and you forgot to brush your teeth, maybe if you didn't quite get the coif right, all of those things are assessments that get made. But here's some other assessments that get made that you might not understand. Guys, when you are fully suited up and everything looks perfect, tie, shirt, suit, everything, gorgeous, beautiful, and then your shoes look like you went off-roading, guess what? We make an assessment. Here's the assessment that we make, believe it or not. When I give them a project, are they going to be 80% done on that project? Because the outfit's 80% done. So if the outfit is 80% done, does that mean I'm going to be looking for the hidden mistake that's in the project that I give them to do? Because if they didn't take enough care to get to 100% on the shoes, then what is the project going to look like when I give them that? I don't actually have time to go look for the mistake, so I'll just move on to the next person who's 100% done instead of 80. Completely unfair. Probably even untrue. But as I said to you before, we don't have time or desire to understand the circumstances. So as a result, I just move on. And when I'm reviewing thousands and thousands and thousands of people as an employer, guess what? I actually don't have time to dig in. What I need is sound bites. What I need to know is that the quickie little soundbite that tells me what I need to know, 30 feet, 30 inches, 31st words, I'm good. Nothing worse than when you have great expectations and you see somebody who looks fantastic. They get up close and they pass the close-up screen and then they talk. And you're like, oh, what a disappointment that was. So all three pieces matter. And all three pieces are part of the assessment process. And as you are making that assessment, the person is making the assessment of you at the same time. So let me give you a couple of cautions. You can't assess culture. You can't assess upbringing. You can't assess commitment. You can't assess knowledge. You can't assess any of those things from 30 feet away, 30 inches away in the first 30 words. So while I'm telling you that these assessments are happening, and while I'm telling you to be careful because it does happen to you, and while I'm telling you to guard yourself against doing the same thing, I'm also telling you to watch out. We live in a world that everybody brings something to the table from different places, and when we make these snap judgments and snap assessments, we lose. We lose the greatness that people bring because we're so busy trying to be quick with the soundbite. So while I'm telling you that that is your reality, I'm also telling you to watch out for the bias. Because right on the other side of what people call a good, quick study is a person who makes snap judgments. Yeah? So just watch for it. Pay attention to it. But be hyper super aware that everybody's doing it to you every time you turn. Trust me, on the weekends, I don't dress like this. On the weekends, I wear sweatsuits. On the weekends, I wear hats. On the weekends, I usually have headphones on. And people think that I'm a big, scary black guy. I go into stores and people follow me. I go to places with my wife and they go, "Can I help you?" I'm like, "Yes, you can help her," which is helping me. Sometimes I bring my nieces who don't look like me. My nieces look like her. And then they're like, "So who is she?" And then every now and then they go, "Are you okay, little girl?" People make snap judgments everywhere about more things than just race and gender, by the way. And in many cases, they are bad snap judgments to be made. So I'm telling you, people do it, so be aware. You do it, so be aware. But also, don't get caught into making snap judgments because it can really make you miss the greatness. Yes? Okay. Now, the other side of the 30 is your 30-second commercial. All of you in the world of media know that the 30-second commercial is an extraordinarily powerful thing. Extremely powerful. What makes the 30-second commercial so powerful? It makes me want to know more. It grabs me enough to make me want to know more. It's the little quick soundbite that grabs me enough to make me want to know more. So here's the formula for your 30-second commercial. Who am I? What do I do? What makes me different from everybody else? And why should anybody care? Very, very simple equation. Super duper powerful. I can't tell you how many times you are going to come up to someone and have the moment. And then you go, and then they're gone. I've gotten on the elevator, meet the CEO. "Hey, who are you?" "I'm Eric." "What do you do?" And then they're like, "Oh, well, nice to meet you." And they're gone. That could have been the project. That could have been the investment. That could have been the internship. That could have been the opportunity. That could have been the job. That could have been the promotion. Am I ready? Am I ready? Who am I? What do I do? What makes me different from everybody else? Did you guys know that the NBA hires 1% of the people who apply? 1%. More strict than Stanford, more strict than Google, more strict than Apple, 1%. You know what makes the difference between the 1% and not? Oftentimes, are you ready when the moment comes? Because when the moment comes, by the way, which we don't know when the moment is, so we always can't be prepared for the moment in the moment. The moment comes when it comes. Are you ready? Have you practiced? I ask people, when is the last time you introduced yourself to you? When is the last time you introduced yourself to you? Do you actually know who you are? Do you actually know what you're good at? Do you know what you are known for? Do you know what you've accomplished? And could you articulate it quickly on demand? Well, the reason I can make free throws with my eyes closed is because I practice and shoot thousands and thousands and thousands of free throws until I can. So the reason you can cite your 30-second commercial without having to think about it is because you've introduced yourself to you and you practice it. And you get good at it. And by the way, you have multiple 30-second commercials, because when I speak to somebody about work, and when I speak to somebody about community, and when I speak to somebody about basketball, and when I speak to somebody about coaching, they are different commercials. You are not single-threaded, and you are not linear. So what is all of the greatness about you, and can you articulate it when the time comes, and will you be ready when the moment presents itself? Because it will. And when it does, if you're not ready, whew, gonzo. Somebody else's opportunity, somebody else's promotion, somebody else's job. That is the difference in being in the 1%. It is simply the fact that I'm ready when the time presents itself. Because I never know when that's going to be, so I'm always ready. Simple exercise for you to do. It's actually in the book. Simple exercise for you to do. I want you to write your 30-second commercial. I want you to introduce yourself to yourself, and I want you to practice over and over and over again. I want you to get a partner and have them practice with you. I want you to get critiqued by your partners to tell you why it is and isn't right. I want you to ask someone, why is that makes you great? Not just tell me why. Tell me what you've done to make that thing be great. Because at the end of the day, what I want to know is not just the detail. I want to know how. I want to know why. I want to know what the value was that you got out of it. I want to know what the value was that you gave. Now I know you. And more, now I know you. Because why would I want you if you don't know if you're great? Why would I believe that you're awesome if you don't believe that you're awesome? How am I going to ever get to know how incredible you are if you can't tell me how incredible you are? You know how many times people walk into a meeting with me and already start apologizing the second they walk in the door? They give me the caveats. Caveats are the most annoying thing in the world to me. I know I'm about to say something that you're not going to like, but ... I use the term, don't apologize for adding value. If you're already in the room, you're in the room. If I've already invited you to the table, then you're at the table. I don't care how old you are. I don't care what you've done before. I don't care where you came from. I wouldn't have invited you if I wasn't interested. So when you're in the room, don't apologize for adding value, no matter what role you have, no matter what level you are. You guys will come in with less experience than everybody until you have more experience than everybody. So contribute from day one and don't apologize for it for a second. Get in and compete. Remember how we started this? Why are we here? Come on, why are we here? Why are we here? So when you're in the room, why are you there? Thank you very much. Now, when you are there, you are officially a company. You are no longer a person. By the way, nobody knows or cares who Eric Hutcherson from Freehold, New Jersey is. Nobody cares who that guy is. Nobody knows who that guy is. Everybody knows who the head of HR for the NBA is. Nobody cares who the HR guy is that's from Freehold, New Jersey called Eric. Everybody knows who the head of HR is at the NBA. You know why? Because I am that company. I am my own company. You are officially a company as well. And here's what you need to know about that company. What are those characteristics that make you you? What are the characteristics that make you you? What is your brand? What are the unique characteristics of that brand? Another exercise that I will ask you to do, it is in the book, you do not have to do it right now. Write on a piece of paper or use that or do whatever you want to do with technology. What makes me great? What makes me great? What are all the things I've done, places I've been, people I've seen, projects I've worked on, things I've accomplished, value I've given that makes me awesome? By the way, you are all awesome. There's no chance you would be in this room if you weren't awesome. You'd have no shot at being in this school if you weren't awesome. There's no way in the world we would invest this much time, energy, and resources in you if you weren't awesome. But are you sure you know what makes you awesome? I need you to write it down. I need you to get comfortable with it. I need you to get comfortable being incredible, because in many cases, you are the one that is the least comfortable with it. We walk in and we are expecting awesome, and then you walk in and you apologize every 5 seconds. Just be awesome. And remember that what makes you great is the thing that is your unique value proposition. It's the thing that makes you different from everybody else. Then, what is your marketing plan? How are you going to make me know you? You guys should be expert at that. You have all the resources in the world to help you to tell people who you are and what you are and why you are. Use those resources. And something that people don't often encourage you to do, what are you worth? How are you going to maximize your value? What are you worth? Do you know what you're worth? Not just in money, by the way. What are you worth in value? What are you worth in capability? What are you worth in knowledge? What are you worth in the willingness to give to someone else? What are you worth? And can you articulate it in a way that somebody wants to buy? Trust me, the work world is very cold. Yes? You have a set of skills. You decide who you want to sell those skills to. You have a set of capabilities. You decide who deserves to get those capabilities. I am an employer. I am deciding if I want to spend money on those capabilities. At any time, you get to say no, and so do I. That's called employment at will. They'll put that in your offer letter that you get. It simply means that you get to choose as a company called you when you decide to take your greatness elsewhere. I give you some ideas about what to do in order to decide when it's time to take my greatness elsewhere. Am I proud of the company I work for? Am I proud of the people I work with? Am I proud of the work that I get to do? And am I pleased with the value that I give and get? See those, read those, know those. Notice I didn't say how much money I make. Notice I didn't say how big my office is. Notice I didn't say how many people report to me. Notice I didn't say what they call me. None of that matters. None of it matters. Trust me, everybody that is going to guide you, especially the people that are closest to you and your family, they're going to tell you that that stuff matters. That stuff doesn't matter. Especially early in your career, that stuff doesn't matter. You know what matters? Am I going to a place that I'm going to spend more time here than I'm going to spend at home? Do I believe in these people? Do I believe in what they stand for? Do I believe in what they do? Do I believe that they have the same goals in mind that I've got? Do I believe I can add value? Do I think I can make a difference? Am I proud of the work that I'm getting to do? Do I feel like this work is going to do something for me and for someone else? If the answer to that question is yes, you are probably in the right place. When the answer to any one of those questions is no, do everything you can to twist yourself into knots to make the question be yes. When you get to a point that you don't feel like you can turn a no to yes, it is time to go do something else. You are great. Who deserves to get your greatness? That's the question that you are asking yourselves. That is the thing that you are assessing. You will never go into an interview ever again going, I hope I impress them. I hope they like me. I hope I answer the questions the right way. Stop. You are the company. We need you. You get to decide who deserves to get me. And we earn you by making you proud. We earn you by making you proud. Because there are lots of people out there that want a job, and there are lots of companies out there that want great talent. And the difference is people now come and leave organizations because they are proud of the place that they are there. And when they are no longer proud, and when they no longer believe, and when it no longer aligns with me, it is time to go. And I'm telling you, it will be empowering. You will feel different. You will walk into a conversation completely differently when you are saying, do you deserve to get me? Because I'm awesome and I'm not really sure yet. So I'm here to assess. That is a different kind of interview. I'm not asking you to be cocky. I'm not asking you to wear it on your sleeve, but I am asking you to remember you are the one who's awesome in this conversation. And we're all trying to figure out whether or not we deserve to get you. Now when you walk into the discussion, it's a totally different discussion. Now you're assessing, so what is this company really all about? And can I spend all of my time here because I'm going to see these people more than my family? And do I believe in these people? And do I believe in what they believe in? And can I add value in this place? Because if the answer is yes, double down. And when the answer is no, try to figure it out. If the answer no persists, it's time to go do something else. You don't have time to waste. Go be great. And go be great every day. When I joined the NBA, I said we're in a race against the clock to make the inside look like the outside. Everybody outside of the NBA thinks the place is incredible. It's got all the best technology. It's got all the best insights. It's got all the best of everything. Except inside, it's a bunch of us running like crazy trying to make all that stuff be true. And what I'm trying to do is get 1,500 people inside our organization to all be great at the same time. Because then we will be awesome. And it's people like you that make that be true. But I need you to come in not apologizing and not being nervous and not worrying that you're not good enough. I need you coming in going, I'm ready to be awesome. Who deserves to get me? And then it all falls into the right places. As soon as that happens, everything falls into place. Yes? Now, I live by a mantra. This is the mantra that I live by. It is right here. I was totally against tattoos until I started doing this speech, and now they're everywhere. It's right here. It says, I like who I am and I like what I see. Because if nobody else believes, at least I know I got me. I like who I am and I like what I see. Because if nobody else in the world believes in me, I know I got me. That doesn't have to be yours, but you got to live by something. You got to believe something, and you got to hold it true, because there's going to be days that you don't want to get up. There's going to be days that you don't want to go. There's going to be days that you question. There's going to be days that you worry, and that is the thing that's going to keep you standing. And McDonald's is always hiring. So you never really have to worry, because when it all's said and done, we can also flip a couple burgers and eat. I can eat. The reality is you are great every day. So as soon as you stop worrying about whether or not I'm going to have a job, and as soon as you stop worrying about whether or not somebody's going to give me a job, suddenly you're awesome again. And it's a cycle, and the cycle works. And trust me, I know it's going to be hard to do, and it's going to be hard to believe because I've already got a job. But trust me, you're going to see it'll make the difference between success and failure. If you believe in you more than anybody else could ever believe in you, you will be ready. Now, the last thing, you do stuff every day. You do stuff every day. When you do that stuff, you give people an experience of what it means to interact with you. You had no idea what I was going to be like until now, and now you have a point of view on me. That point of view is now my brand. And remember when I said that meeting that I'm in that you're not in when we talk about you and decide your fate? This is what we are talking about. We are talking about your brand. It is the thing that we are discussing, because sometimes we don't actually get the time, nor do we care to take the time to actually get to know you. You know what we're talking about? We're talking about what we think, what we heard, what we were told, what we suppose, what we assume. That's called your brand. And from that brand, you get a set of results. And lots of people say to me, I need you to think about me differently. I need you to treat me differently. I need you to consider me differently. That is not how it works. I need you to do something different, to make me have a different experience, to give yourself a different brand, to give yourself different results. You can't actually change the brand unless you change your behavior. So I want you to go and I want you to really get introspective at some point, and I want you to really ask yourself, how am I seen? How am I seen? When people think about me, what do they actually think? What do they actually say? What do they actually believe? Because when the day is done, you have a brand that you have to live with, which is called you. In your books, I've given you a brand statement that I need you to write. I want to be known for what so that I can achieve what? Because at the end of the day, your brand statement is the thing that you are trying to achieve when the day is done. It starts here. What are the things that I do every day that makes people have an impression of me, that gives them an experience? And based on that experience, what are people going to say is my brand? And based on that brand, what results will I get? And if I need to change those results, I got to go right back to the behaviors. Now, I've also given you a worksheet to work with. It's called Signs of Slippage and Signs of Success. Very, very simple. Start paying attention. You will quickly know. You will quickly know how people see you. Start paying attention. I want to be known for what so that I can achieve what, and then pay attention. Anytime something is going the wrong way, that's a sign of slippage. Anytime you get affirmation that what you are desiring is where you are headed, that is a sign of success. Keep track and adjust along the way. As soon as you see signs of slippage, think about what behaviors am I conducting that are making people feel that way about me, because it is always a correlation, always. It could be simple, it could be minor, it could be something that you would have otherwise taken for granted. It is always there. The answer is always there. So look for the signs of slippage and then double down on the signs of success. Now, just to remind you why we're here. Just to remind you why we're here. I just wanted to play one last video.
When I started, it was 2012 and I was just an intern. It's really cool to see the team grow in such a short period of time. I'm not calling plays off the bench and I'm not running the team, but there's a reason they call it home court advantage. I get the fans ready and the fans get the players ready.
I end on that for one reason and one reason alone. I want you to remember, no matter how small the contribution, no matter how small the contribution matters. No matter how minor you think your role is in whatever it is that you do, I need you to know that that role is critical for someone. No matter how small you think your value has been, no matter what the circumstances, you can derive value from the smallest of things. And when you do, and you add those things together, you have that thing called pride. Okay? Now, one last time. Why are we all here?
I'm why.
Why did we all invest?
I'm why.
Why are you here?
I'm why.
Very good. Who's got questions for me? Who's got questions for me? What do you want to know? Yes, ma'am. Mike.
Oh, sorry. Hi, my name is Megan Green, and I'm a grad student in the communication management program.
Awesome.
I want to know, once you start working for an organization and you tarnish your brand for taking too many responsibilities on, is it possible to recover?
Of course. Of course. First of all, you got to see the signs coming, right? Even when you're overextended, here's what you got to do. You got to be proactive even about the overextension. As soon as you know that it's not going to go right, sound the alarm. Yes? And here's one quick thing to know for everybody. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of maturity. Asking for help is a sign of maturity, not a sign of weakness. We think that when we're early in our careers that we have to, like, soldier through no matter what it is. I can't ask anybody for help because they'll think that I'm weak and I couldn't do it. Wrong answer. What we think is, wow, this person was really thoughtful and proactive, and even though they were overextended, they figured out how to make it work anyway. That is a sign of strength. So no matter what the circumstances, even when you're overextended, try to recover by asking for help and getting yourself out of it. And then learn the lesson, right? The measure of a man. Learn the lesson. Just don't make the same mistake twice. Okay? Okay. What else? I know we're at time. What else? Other questions? Other thoughts? Challenges? People? Yes?
So that example you gave when the interim
Yeah.
HR position was ready and you didn't have your hands free, when you're being asked to do something by a higher up, take on a responsibility, how do you say, I think that's too much in order to keep your hands free?
So here's the thing, right? What I learned early and often by making mistakes. Remember we talked about followership? Here's the reason why followership becomes so important. Leverage. Leverage. Doesn't mean you don't take on the responsibility, but you figure out how to empower other people to help you get that work done. You figure out who are the other people that I can give opportunities to grow so that I can keep my hands free. I don't mean say no to opportunity. What I mean is figure out how to leverage the resources that are around you, figure out how to leverage the capabilities that might be there, and see if you can get multiplier effect by having other people around you. Then, at times, you do have to say, listen, I'm willing to do this piece of work because it's really important. Here are the 3 things that are at risk if I do it. If we can plan on how to figure out these other 3 things, then I got you covered. Right? So it's all about thinking ahead for what it is that I need to do in order to take on that piece of work and not have my hands not be free. The mistake I made was I just said yes, and I took on the work, and I was grinding it out. You know what sacrificed? Never saw my family, never got home at a reasonable time, hadn't had dinner in months with the crew. And by the way, when the opportunity came, I still was doing the work. I don't mean don't do the work. And I don't mean don't do it flawlessly. I mean leverage, get the right resources around you, and know when the right answer is actually no. Okay? Any last ones? Yes, last one.
Wait, Jen.
Hi, my name is Lauren Bickford. Thank you for coming. What is leadership to you, and how can we build those students as skills?
Absolutely.
Skills as students.
Well, excuse me, right now at the MBA, we are literally revamping our whole career development plan. And you guys saw a little bit of this while you were there. We are changing the way that we think about leadership, and I have a point of view on how we think about leadership. I think actually leadership has 3 specific components, and each person has to play these different roles at different times. Leading from the front. That's sometimes me. Take charge. Here we go. I've got the vision. Everybody follow me. And everybody goes. That's leading from the front. Leader is coach. Literally sit side by side. Let me teach you. Let me guide you. Let me show you. Let me help you. Let me give you my perspective. Let us develop and learn together. Leader is coach. And then there's this thing called the guiding hand. The guiding hand is the leader that sits in the background that nobody ever sees, that nobody ever knows, that clears away pathways and gets things out of the way and positions people effectively to be successful and brings them resources before they even know that they need them. And suddenly they're like, I don't even know how that door opened, but that door opened. Guess who that was? That was the guiding hand. There's probably somebody behind you helping to open doors to give you the opportunities that you need. So my opinion is that leadership brings all those different facets. I think sometimes we lean on one layer of leadership and we overplay the hand. And then we realize that we don't have the other pieces of leadership that are critically important. Sometimes the best leaders are the ones that nobody sees. Sometimes the best leaders are the ones that take the back seat and simply enjoy the spoils of watching their leadership take shape and watching other people succeed as a result. So one of the most important things you have to do is a great leader doesn't need the credit for being a great leader. A great leader is leading for the good of someone else. And when that's the case, you're a great leader the second you walk in the door, because you're there to make somebody else better. And if that becomes your goal, then you're automatically a great leader, because you'll do everything you can to make that be true. Thank you guys very much. I'm 5 minutes over. I really do appreciate your time.
Thank you, Eric. when I introduced Eric, I told you that he has a passion and enthusiasm for helping students with their career that he has clearly demonstrated. So thank you very much. You also said when you go into the weekend, you like to wear hats. So in addition to our swag, we got
there
a
it is.
hat for it. It's Friday afternoon, just about.
See, the bad thing about not having hair is you can't catch the sweat, so that's why we...
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, logistically speaking, if you are staying for the entertainment alumni panel, that's going to be in this room in just a couple minutes. If you're going to the professionalism in the workplace, that's just down the hall in room 116. So let's thank Eric one more time by a round of applause.
Thank you guys very much.